June Kim stood by the window of the colony control tower. The sky of Proxima Centauri was clear that morning. 50,000 humans called this planet home now. It had taken them 10 years to build New Sol colony, but they had done it. Humans had reached the stars. "Sir, we have strange readings at the edge of our system," said Han, the young radar operator. June walked over to look at the screen. "What kind of readings?" "5 large ships. They don't match any human designs. They're moving fast." June felt his mouth go dry. First contact. After all these years of wondering if humans were alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. "Send a welcome message on all channels," June ordered. "Tell Earth what's happening." Hours later, the alien ships entered orbit. They were huge and dark, with shapes that hurt the eyes. No human would design ships like that. "They're responding to our message," Han said, his voice shaking. The screen lit up. June stared at the creature before him. It had gray skin, 6 yellow eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. This was a Krell, though June didn't know that name yet. "Weak humans," the alien said in broken English. They must have studied human broadcasts. "Your kind spreads like disease. We will clean you away." "We come in peace," June said, trying to stay calm. "There is room for both our species in this galaxy." The Krell made a sound like rocks grinding together. "Laughter, perhaps. You humans waste your animals. Make them soft. Pets." The alien spat the word. "We show you real power of animals." The screen went dark. Minutes later, strange pods fell from the Krell ships. They crashed into the colony's main square, the farms, the school areas. "Get security teams there now," June shouted. "Start emergency plans." But it was too late. The pods opened. From each one came a monster. They looked like tigers, but much bigger, with armored scales instead of fur. Their teeth dripped green venom. Their eyes glowed red. "War beasts," whispered Han. The beasts attacked anything that moved. People ran screaming. Colony security fired their weapons, but the bullets bounced off the armored scales. June grabbed the emergency communicator. "This is Administrator June Kim of New Sol Colony. We are under attack by hostile aliens. They have released genetically modified predators into our civilian areas. Our weapons have little effect. We need immediate military support." Outside, the screams grew louder. The war beasts moved with terrible purpose, breaking into buildings, hunting down colonists. "Sir," Han said, his face pale, "the Krell ships are landing. They're sending troops." June looked at the monitor showing the colony's main gate. Tall, heavily armored Krell warriors marched out of their ships. Each one stood 3 meters high. They carried weapons that shot beams of blue light, turning anything they hit to ash. "Keep broadcasting to Earth," June ordered. "They need to know what we're facing." The tower shook. Something big was climbing the outside wall. "Lock the door," June shouted, but again it was too late. The window shattered. A war beast leaped into the room, its red eyes scanning for prey. It found Han first. June didn't look away as the young man died. He kept broadcasting. "The Krell see our relationship with animals as weakness," he said quickly into the communicator. "They've turned their animals into weapons, but they don't understand us. They don't understand Earth." The beast turned toward him, growling. June thought of his dog back on Earth, Gentleman, who slept at the foot of his bed every night. "They think we make our animals weak," June said as the beast approached. "They don't know what we're capable of." His final message sent, June closed his eyes as the war beast leaped. 3 months later, on Earth, Commander Topark watched June's final broadcast. His hand rested on the head of his German shepherd, Buck. "They think we make our animals weak," June's voice repeated. Todd looked down at Buck. "They have no idea what's coming for them." 2 months had passed since the fall of New Sol Colony. The news had hit Earth hard. 3 more human colonies had gone silent in those 2 months. The Krell were moving fast. Commander Topark sat in a large meeting room at Earth Defense Headquarters. Around the table sat 20 military leaders, all with grim faces. "The Krell war beasts are unlike anything we've faced," said General One, pointing at the screen. "Our bullets barely hurt them. Their armor is too strong." The screen showed images taken from New Seoul before all signals stopped. The tiger-like creatures tore through buildings like they were made of paper. "We've lost 4 colonies," said Admiral Sukyu. She was the highest-ranking officer in the room. "We need a new plan, or we will lose this war before it really starts." Tai cleared his throat. "I may have an idea." All eyes turned to him. Tai was younger than most people in the room, but he had fought in the Mars Rebellion. People respected him. "The Krell think we're weak because we make friends with animals instead of turning them into weapons," Ta said. "But that's not weakness. It's our strength." General One frowned. "What do you mean?" Ta stood up and walked to the screen. He tapped it, and new images appeared. Dogs in training, horses running obstacle courses, ravens carrying small packages. "For thousands of years, humans have worked with animals," Tai explained. "Not by forcing them to obey, but by building trust. The Krell use fear and pain to control their war beasts. We use love and respect." Someone laughed. "You want to fight armored monsters with pet dogs." Ta didn't smile. "I want to fight them with partners, animals that choose to work with us." Admiral Suk studied him. "Explain more." "The Krell war beasts are strong, but they're not smart," Ta said. "They attack anything that moves. They don't plan or adapt. Our animals can do both." He tapped the screen again. A video played of a military exercise. 10 dogs wearing light protective gear moved through a mock battlefield. They didn't run straight at the targets. They split up, flanked them, worked together. "Dogs have lived with humans for 30,000 years, Ta continued. "They understand us. They can read our signals. They want to protect us. And they're not the only ones." More videos played. Dolphins carrying equipment underwater. Ravens flying into tight spaces to place small devices. Horses carrying soldiers through rough terrain no vehicle could cross. The room was quiet now. No one was laughing. "The Krell think we've made our animals soft," Ta said. "They don't understand that working together makes us all stronger." Admiral Suk leaned forward. "What exactly are you proposing, Commander Park?" "Operation Companion," Tai replied. "A special force of human soldiers working with trained animals. Dogs, horses, dolphins, ravens, even bees, each one doing what they do best." General One shook his head. "This is crazy." "Maybe," Tai admitted, "but our normal weapons aren't working. The Krell expect us to fight like them. We need to surprise them." Admiral Suk thought for a long moment. Then she nodded. "How long do you need to get ready?" "I already started," Ta said. "Give me 1 month to finish training." "You have 3 weeks," Admiral Suk replied. "The Krell will reach Alpha Centauri by then. We need to stop them there." As the meeting ended, Ta walked out with Admiral Suk. His dog Buck waited in the hallway, alert and watching. "Do you really think this can work?" Admiral Suk asked quietly. Ta scratched Buck behind the ears. The big German shepherd leaned against his leg. "The Krell use animals as tools," he said. "We work with them as friends. They'll never see it coming." On the other side of the galaxy, the Krell Supreme Commander Grax watched his war beasts tear through another human settlement. Soon, these weak humans would be gone from his galaxy. Their habit of treating animals like equals disgusted him. Animals were meant to serve, to fight, to die. He had no idea what was coming for him. The training center was built underground. It was safer that way. Ta Park walked through the large open space, watching humans and animals work together. "Commander Park," called a voice. Ta turned to see Dr. Hyunli jogging toward him. She was the best animal expert on Earth. We've made a breakthrough with the ravens. Ta followed her to a separate room. Inside, 20 black ravens watched them from perches along the wall. Each bird wore a tiny camera and communication device. "Show him, Jin," Hyun said to one of the trainers. The young trainer held up a small model of a Krell war beast. "Find and mark," he said clearly. 6 ravens immediately took flight. They circled the room, then flew through a small tunnel into the next room. On the screen, Ta could see what the ravens saw through their cameras. They were searching the large maze-like space. One raven spotted something and let out a soft call. The others joined it. They had found a hidden model of a war beast. One by one, they dropped tiny tracking devices on it. "They work as a team," Hyun explained, "just like wild ravens do when hunting. But now they're hunting for us." Ta nodded, impressed. "How are the dogs doing?" They walked to the largest training area. Here, 50 dogs of different breeds were working with their human partners. Border collies, German shepherds, Belgian Malinois, and other smart, strong breeds. The dogs wore light armor that protected their bodies but let them move fast. "Watch this," said Da Choi, the military engineer who had designed the dog armor. He pointed to a training exercise in progress. A model of a Krell war beast moved across the floor. It wasn't as dangerous as a real one, but it was fast and had sharp claws. 4 dogs approached it, not head-on, but from different sides. They moved in perfect sync, as if sharing one mind. The first dog barked loudly, getting the war beast's attention. When it turned, 2 more dogs attacked its back legs. As it spun around, the 4th dog leaped and hit a spot on its neck, the weak point. The model beast shut down. "They learn fast," Da said proudly. "Much faster than the Krell beasts, and they protect their human partners above all else." Ta smiled. "And the horses?" "This way." Hyun led him to another section, where horses in specialized armor were carrying soldiers through an obstacle course. The horses jumped over barriers, ducked under low ceilings, and moved silently despite their size. "The dolphins are training in the water tanks," Hyun continued. "They can place explosives on Krell underwater bases. And the elephants." An alarm cut her off. Red lights flashed. "Emergency meeting," announced a voice over the speakers. "All team leaders report to command." 10 minutes later, Tai stood with his team in the command center. Admiral Suk's face filled the main screen. "The Krell have broken through our outer defenses," she said grimly. "They've destroyed 3 stations around Mars. They'll reach Earth in days, not weeks." The room went quiet. "We're out of time," Admiral Suk continued. "Commander Park, is Operation Companion ready?" Ta looked at Hyun and Da. They both nodded. "We're ready," Ta said. "Not as ready as I'd like, but we can fight." "Good," Admiral Suk replied. "Because the future of humanity now depends on you and your—" She paused. "Companions." After the call ended, Tai went to find Buck. The German shepherd had been with him for 6 years. Together they had survived the Mars Rebellion. Now they faced something much worse. Buck looked up as Tai approached, his intelligent eyes watching his human. Todd knelt and put his hand on the dog's head. "The Krell think they're the only ones who can create war beasts," Ta said softly. "But they forgot something important. We didn't need to create war beasts." He scratched behind Buck's ears. "We already have loyal friends willing to fight beside us." Buck pressed his head against Ta's chest, as if promising to protect him. That night, Operation Companion prepared for war. The United Defense Force's main ship, Star Defender, was huge. 5,000 soldiers and crew lived inside it. Now, it also carried 200 animals from Earth. Ta stood in the war room with the other commanders. A large 3D map showed Earth and the approaching Krell ships. "They'll be here in 3 days," said Captain Jin, pointing at the red dots that represented Krell ships. 7 large battleships and at least 20 smaller fighters. Admiral Suk studied the map. "We have 15 ships ready to fight." Not enough for a direct battle. Then we don't fight directly, Tai suggested. We use a new approach. The room fell silent. Everyone looked at him. The Krell think they know how we fight, Tai continued. They expect us to use big guns and missiles. We need to surprise them. He tapped the screen, showing a new battle plan. We let them get close to Earth. When they release their war beasts, we release our companions. You want to risk Earth itself? Asked Captain Jin, his voice rising. If your animal plan fails. It won't fail, Tai interrupted. He nodded to Hyun and Dai. Show them. Dai pressed a button, and one wall of the room opened. Behind it was a training area. Inside, 10 border collies in light armor stood at attention. These dogs are smarter than any Krell war beast, Hyun explained. They understand complex commands and can make decisions on their own. She nodded to the trainer. Begin demonstration. A mechanical version of a Krell war beast entered the training area. It moved like the real thing, fast and deadly. The dogs didn't attack right away. They watched. They circled. They communicated with small barks and body movements. Then, as if given a silent command, they attacked. Not wildly, but with clear purpose. 2 dogs distracted the beast from the front. 3 more attacked its legs from behind. When it fell, the others went for the weak spots on its neck and belly. In less than a minute, the mechanical beast was disabled. That was impressive, Admiral Suk admitted, but real war beasts are more dangerous. Yes, Tai agreed. But our dogs don't fight alone. He pointed to the trainer, who had guided the dogs with hand signals. Each animal team works with human soldiers. Together, they're stronger than either would be alone. Admiral Suk thought for a long moment. Then she nodded. We'll try your plan, Commander Park. But we need a backup. I understand, Ta said. If Operation Companion fails, our ships will attack with everything we have. As the meeting ended, Tai felt someone touch his arm. It was Dr. Hyun. There's something you need to see, she said quietly. She led him to the ship's animal quarters. Hundreds of dogs, horses, ravens, and other animals were housed there. Each had space to move and rest. Look, Hyun pointed to one section. Ta saw several dogs lying near a young woman. She was crying. That's Min, Hyun explained. She lost her family on New Seoul Colony. She hasn't spoken since we rescued her. But watch. As they observed, one of the dogs, a golden retriever, moved closer to Min. It put its head on her lap. Slowly, Min's hand reached out to touch the dog's fur. Then, barely audible, she whispered something to the dog. That's the first time she's spoken in 2 months, Hyun said. The dogs sense her pain. They want to help her. Tai thought about the Krell, who saw animals only as weapons. They would never understand this. This is why we'll win, he said softly. The Krell fight with fear. We fight with love. A voice came over the ship's speakers. All personnel, prepare for jump to Mars orbit. Krell ships detected in Earth space. This is not a drill. The battle for Earth was about to begin. The Star Defender reached Mars orbit in 6 hours. 5 other human ships joined them. They were ready to defend Earth. Krell ships approaching, announced the radar operator. 5 minutes until they're in range. Tog checked his armor one last time. Around him, 50 soldiers did the same. Each one was paired with a dog. Todd looked down at Buck, who sat alert at his side. This is it, boy, he said softly. Time to show them what we can do. Admiral Suk's voice came through the speakers. The Krell have ignored our messages. They're preparing to attack. Operation Companion is now active. Good luck, Commander Park. Tai and his team moved to the launch bay. 20 small, fast ships waited for them. Each could carry 5 soldiers and their dog partners. Remember the plan, Ta told his team. We let them land on Mars. When they release their war beasts, we move in. Everyone nodded. They climbed into the ships with their dogs. Buck followed Tai. taking his position in the special seat designed for him. From the bridge, Admiral Sook watched the Krell ships enter Mars orbit. They were massive, at least 3 times larger than the Star Defender. "They're landing troops," reported Captain Jin. "Northern Hemisphere, Olympus Base." Olympus Base was an abandoned human settlement, perfect for the first battle. "Launch Operation Companion," ordered Admiral Sook. On Mars, the Krell commander Grax stepped out of his ship. The red planet's thin atmosphere didn't bother him. Krell could breathe in conditions that would kill humans. "Release the war beasts," he ordered. "Find any humans hiding here." Large doors opened on the Krell ships. Out came the war beasts, 50 of them. They were even bigger than the ones that attacked New Sol Colony. Their scales were thicker, their teeth longer. Grax watched with pride as his beasts spread out, searching for prey. These creatures had been bred for generations to kill. Nothing could stand against them. A small human ship appeared on the horizon. Grax laughed. One small ship against his army. The humans were more foolish than he thought. The ship landed half a kilometer away. The door opened, and humans stepped out. Grax narrowed his 6 eyes. The humans had animals with them. Dogs, he remembered they were called. Soft creatures that humans kept as pets. They bring their pets to battle. Grax said to his lieutenant, "This will be even easier than we thought." The war beasts saw the dogs and humans. They charge, ready to kill. What happened next shocked Grax to his core. The dogs didn't run away. They didn't even look scared. They moved with the humans in perfect formation. As the first war beast approached, 2 dogs flanked it while their human partner fired at its eyes, one of the few weak spots. More human ships arrived. With each one came new dogs. They worked in teams, always protecting each other and their humans. One of Grax's largest war beasts cornered a human female. It was about to strike when 3 border collies attacked it from behind. They didn't bite randomly. They targeted specific points, the joints where the armor was thinnest. The human female wasn't helpless either. She fired her weapon at the beast's mouth when it roared, hitting the unarmored inside. Across the battlefield, Ty and Buck fought side by side. Buck sensed danger before Ty could see it, warning him with short barks. Together, they had already taken down 3 war beasts. The dogs are communicating, Grax realized with horror. They're working together. His lieutenant looked confused. How is this possible? They're just animals. No, Grax said, watching this as war beasts began to fall. They're not just animals. They're partners. For the first time, Grax felt something new, doubt. These humans and their dogs moved like they shared one mind. His war beasts were stronger, but the dogs were smarter. They protected their humans, and the humans protected them. As the battle turned against the Krell, Grax gave the order to retreat. They needed a new plan. Ty watched the Krell ships take off. He scratched Buck behind the ears. "Good job, buddy," he said. "But this is just the beginning. We won the first battle, but the Krell will be back," Ta said to the group of commanders on the Star Defender. "And they'll bring something worse." It had been 2 days since the fight on Mars. The Krell ships had retreated to the edge of the solar system, but they hadn't left. "Our scouts report they're modifying their war beasts," said Captain Jin, looking at the newest images, "making them bigger, stronger." Admiral Sook nodded grimly. "Then we need to bring in the rest of Operation Companion." Ty agreed. It's time for Phase 2. 3 transport ships arrived from Earth the next day. They carried the other animals in the program. Horses with special armor, dolphins in mobile water tanks, and ravens trained for scouting and small attacks. Dr. Hyun led Ta to the largest transport ship. "There's someone else who wants to join the fight," she said. Inside, Tai was surprised to see Min, the girl who had survived the New Sol Colony attack. She stood straight and determined, with 2 golden retrievers at her side. "I know these beasts," Min said quietly. I saw what they did to my family. I want to help stop them. Ta was about to refuse. She was too young, but he saw the look in her eyes. She needed this. You can help in the command center, he told her. Your dogs too. They'll keep you safe. Min nodded, grateful. The alarm sounded before they could say more. Krull ships approaching. Captain Jin's voice announced over the speakers. They're heading for Earth directly. Everyone rushed to their positions. The battle was coming sooner than they expected. From the command center, Tai watched the Krell fleet approach. This time, there were more ships, at least 20. They're targeting our defense stations, reported an officer. And they're launching something new. The screens showed large pods leaving the Krell ships. When they opened, enormous creatures emerged. They looked like rhinoceroses, but twice as big, and with armor plating. Their horns glowed with strange energy. The Krell have improved their war beasts, Admiral Suk said. Commander Park, your team needs to adjust. Ta nodded and called Dr. Hyun and Engineer Da. Time for the horses and elephants, he said. Within minutes, specialized ships launched from the Star Defender. Each carried teams of soldiers riding armored horses and elephants. The horses wore armor that covered their bodies but left their legs free to move fast. The elephants had heavy armor and carried small weapon platforms on their backs. The Krell laughed when they saw the earth animals. Their new rhino beasts were much bigger and stronger. But size wasn't everything. The horses moved with amazing speed, circling the rhino beasts. The elephants worked in pairs, one distracting the beast while the other pushed it off balance. And in the water, Earth's oceans where some Krell ships had landed. Dolphins were attacking underwater parts of the alien ships. They placed small bombs exactly where they would do the most damage. In the air, ravens flew above the battlefield, their small cameras showing the human commanders where the Krell were weak. Some ravens carried tiny explosive devices, dropping them on the war beast's eyes. From the command center, Min watched all of this. Her golden retrievers sensed her tension and pressed close to her. They're working together, she whispered, amazed. All the animals, all the humans, like one team. Ta, who had returned to the command center after leading the first attack, nodded. That's our strength. The Krell see animals as tools. We see them as friends. On his main ship, Krell Commander Grax watched with growing anger as his new war beasts struggled. The human animals weren't stronger, but they were smarter and worked in ways his beasts couldn't understand. We need the final weapon, he told his lieutenant. Prepare the hive mind. The lieutenant looked shocked. The hive mind isn't fully tested. It could be dangerous. Do it, Grax shouted. I will not be defeated by humans and their pets. As the battle continued, neither side knowing the true horror that was about to be unleashed. The battle had been going for 6 hours. Human and animal teams had destroyed many Krell war beasts, but more kept coming. The Earth forces were getting tired. Something's happening, said Captain Jin, pointing at the main screen in the command center. The Krell are opening a new container. Everyone watched as a massive pod left the main Krell ship. It was 3 times larger than the ones that had released the rhino beasts. The pod touched down on Earth's surface, near the coast of what used to be Japan. It opened slowly. What is that? Admiral Suk whispered. At first, it looked like black smoke pouring out. Then the images zoomed in, and they could see the truth. Thousands of small insect-like creatures, each the size of a large rat, flowed out of the pod. They moved together like water, forming shapes and patterns. The hive mind, Ta said. He had heard rumors about this Krell weapon. Each bug is small, but they think as one. The swarm moved toward a human city. When they reached the first buildings, the bugs climbed up walls and through windows. Screams could be heard as they found people inside. We need to stop them, Ta said. But how? There are too many to shoot. Min, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. I know how, she said. Everyone turned to look at her. We need bees. Dr. Hyun nodded slowly. She's right. Bees already have a hive mind of their own. They understand swarm behavior. But bees are so small, Captain Jin objected. How can they fight these Krell bugs? Not just bees, Dai added, catching on to the idea. Bees with help. Within an hour, special containers were being loaded onto transport ships. Inside were hundreds of beehives, each containing thousands of honeybees. But these weren't ordinary bees. We've given them a special pollen mix, Dr. Hyun explained to Ta. It makes their stings 3 times stronger. And the queens have been trained to direct their workers towards specific scents. The Krell bugs all smell the same, Dai added. The bees will target them. The transport ships landed near the edge of the area where the hive mind was spreading. Soldiers in protective gear set up the hives and opened them. Clouds of bees flew out. They formed a buzzing wall between the Krell swarm and the rest of the city. From the command center, everyone watched the screens as the 2 swarms met. The Krell bugs tried to flow around the bees, but the bees followed them. When a bee stung a bug, the bug fell from the swarm. It's working, Admiral Suk said with surprise. But the Krell bugs were adapting. They began to form protective shapes, trying to shield themselves from the bees. They're learning, Ta noted. We need something else. That's when Min spoke again. Water, she said. Bugs hate water. She was right. Ta gave new orders. Fire trucks and water tankers were brought to the area. As the bees kept the Krell swarm contained, humans sprayed powerful jets of water at the bugs. The combination worked perfectly. The Krell bugs couldn't maintain their swarm patterns when wet, and the confused bugs were easy targets for the bees. On his ship, Commander Grax watched in disbelief. They're defeating the hive mind with flying insects and water. His lieutenant backed away nervously. The humans understand swarm behavior better than we thought. They live with these creatures. Grax slammed his fist down. Prepare my personal ship. I will deal with this myself. Back at the command center, the team celebrated as the Krell swarm fell apart. The bees returned to their hives, mission complete. We did it, Dr. Hyun said, relieved. But Ta looked worried. This was too easy. The Krell won't give up. As if answering him, alarms sounded throughout the Star Defender. Krell landing craft detected, announced Captain Jin. They're heading straight for us. Ta looked at the screen. A single Krell ship, smaller but heavily armed, was approaching the Star Defender. It's Grax, he said. The Krell commander is coming here. The final battle was about to begin. Grax is coming here himself, Ta told his team. This is our chance to end this war. They gathered in the main hangar of the Star Defender. Ta had chosen a small strike team. Himself, Dr. Hyun, Engineer Da, and 5 of their best soldiers. Each person had their animal partner. Ta had Buck. Hyun had her border collie named Sun, and Da worked with a clever raven called Shadow. But they had one more surprise for Grax. Are the horses ready? Ta asked. Day nodded. 5 horses with full battle armor. They can move faster than any Krell war beast, and they're smart enough to follow complex commands. The horses stood nearby. They were large and strong, wearing armor that protected their bodies while letting them move freely. Each horse had a neural link headset that helped them understand human commands better. Grax's ship will dock in 15 minutes, announced Captain Jin over the speakers. Be ready. Tai checked his weapon one last time, then knelt beside Buck. This will be our hardest fight yet, he said softly. Stay close to me. Buck pressed his nose against Ta's hand, a promise to protect his human. When Grax's ship docked, the hangar doors were sealed. The strike team hid behind cargo containers, waiting. The Krell ship's door opened. Commander Grax stepped out first. He was taller than the other Krell, over 3 meters high, with dark gray skin and 6 yellow eyes. His armor was thick and covered in symbols of rank. Behind him came 10 Krell soldiers and 5 war beasts, unlike any they had seen before. These creatures looked like tigers but had 6 legs and 2 heads. Their teeth dripped green poison. "Come out, humans," Grax called. His voice was deep and rough. "I know you're waiting. Let's finish this." Ta gave the signal. He and his team moved out from their hiding places, their animal partners at their sides. Grax laughed when he saw them. "This is all. A few humans and their pets against me." "These aren't pets," Ta said calmly. "They're our friends, our family." Grax made a disgusted sound. "Weak. Animals are tools, not family." "That's why you'll lose," Ta replied. Then he whistled sharply. The horses charged from their hiding place, each carrying a human rider. They moved with amazing speed, circling the Krell before they could react. The battle exploded into action. The Krell war beasts attacked, but the human animals were ready. Dogs darted between the beasts' legs, confusing them. The raven flew above, diving down to distract the creatures at key moments. The horses showed their power, knocking down Krell soldiers with carefully placed kicks. In the middle of the fight, Ta found himself face to face with Grax. The Krell commander was stronger than any human, but Ta wasn't alone. Buck stayed at his side, warning him of attacks, distracting Grax at perfect moments. Still, Grax was powerful. With one sweep of his arm, he knocked Ta across the hangar floor. Ta hit the wall hard and felt something crack in his chest. He couldn't breathe properly. Grax approached slowly, raising his weapon for the final blow. But then something unexpected happened. One of the horses, a large black stallion named Thunder, broke away from its rider and charged toward Grax. It slammed into the Krell commander at full speed, knocking him down. As Grax tried to stand, Buck leaped at him, teeth bared. The dog bit down on Grax's arm, refusing to let go even when the Krell tried to shake him off. This gave Ta the chance to stand up. Despite his pain, he raised his weapon and pointed it at Grax. "Call off your animal," Grax demanded, still struggling with Buck. "His name is Buck," Ta said firmly, "and he decides for himself." Around them, the battle was turning. The human-animal teams were overwhelming the Krell forces. The war beasts were strong, but couldn't match the intelligence and teamwork of the Earth animals. Grax saw it too. For the first time, the mighty Krell commander looked afraid. "What are you?" he asked Ta. "We're human," Ta answered simply. "And these are our friends, not our weapons. That's something you'll never understand." With the Krell commander cornered, the tide of the war was about to turn. Grax knelt on the floor of the Star Defender's hangar. His soldiers were all captured or defeated. His war beasts lay still, overcome by the human animals. "Kill me and be done with it," the Krell commander said to Ta. "That is how war works." Ta shook his head. "That's how Krell wars work. Humans try to find better ways." Admiral Sook arrived with more soldiers. They secured the area and made sure all the Krell were contained. "Commander Grax," she said formally, "the United Defense Force offers you a choice. You can continue this war, which will cost many more lives on both sides. Or you can talk peace." Grax looked confused. "Peace? After what we did to your colonies?" "Yes," Admiral Sook replied simply. "War should always end with peace, or what was the point?" The Krell commander was silent for a long time. He looked at the humans and their animals. Buck still stood watchfully near Ta. Thunder the horse had calmed down but remained alert. The other animals, dogs, horses, even the raven, all stayed close to their human partners. "I don't understand you humans," Grax finally said. "You turn strong animals into soft companions, yet somehow they fight better than our war beasts." "That's because we don't turn them into anything," Dr. Hyun explained. She had been treating some of the wounded animals. "We work with who they already are. We learn from them as much as they learn from us." Min stepped forward then. She had come down from the command center with her golden retrievers. The two dogs stayed close to her, watching the Krell carefully. "Your war beasts killed my family," she said to Grax. Her voice was quiet but clear. I wanted to hate all Krell for that, but then I saw how you treat your animals. With pain and fear. You're prisoners too, just like them. Grax's 6 eyes blinked in surprise. We are the masters. The animals are tools. Look at your war beasts. Min pointed to the defeated creatures. They fight because they're afraid of you. Our animals fight because they love us. Which is stronger? As if to prove her point, one of her golden retrievers licked her hand, comforting her even as she faced her family's killer. Something changed in Grax's expression. How do you make them love you? You don't make them, Ta said. You earn it. By caring for them, protecting them, treating them with respect. 2 weeks later, the peace treaty was signed. The Krell agreed to leave human colonies alone. In return, humans would help the Krell learn new ways to work with animals. Dr. Hyun led the first team to visit the Krell homeworld. They brought dogs, horses, and other Earth animals to show how humans and animals could be partners. 1 year after that, Ta visited a special center on Mars. It had been built as part of the peace agreement. Inside, Krell and humans worked together with animals from both worlds. He watched as a young Krell carefully fed a dog treat to a puppy. The Krell moved slowly, trying not to scare the small animal. When the puppy licked the Krell's hand, the alien made a sound Ta had never heard before. A Krell laugh of joy. Nearby, Min was teaching Krell children how to brush a horse. The children were gentle, nothing like the warriors who had attacked Earth. Commander Grax was there too. He had become the leader of a new Krell movement that wanted to change how they treated animals. It will take many years, Grax told Tai as they watched the children. But we are learning. Your way is better. Ta nodded. Buck sat beside him, gray now around his muzzle but still alert and loyal. The Krell thought we made our animals weak by loving them, Ta said. But love isn't weakness. It's the strongest force in the universe. As the sun set on Mars, humans and Krell sat together, their animal companions at their sides. The war that began with beasts ended with friends, and that was humanity's greatest victory.